it's been fairly bad-tempered to begin with. The chair of this select committee is Darren Jones, who's a Labour MP, and basically they were comparing figures from the Office for National Statistics, saying that we've had sort of years of economic decline under this government, and Grant Shapps was basically going, well, it depends what figures you take. So it was rather tetchy, but we've had a bit of discussion about the strike legislation, that he was asked very specifically what the date was that this bill would have its second reading. Didn't have that date at the top of his head, sadly, but he was saying that he felt very strongly that not everybody can work from home.
Yes.
People who are affluent, who have nice middle-class jobs that can work from home, it's no problem. But for people who are usually lower paid, who are cleaners or need to physically get to work, that they have to be able to expect to be able to get around. So they are certainly going to go for it, though they won't be drawn on
kind of alluding to that line, really, that it is ordinary working-class people who are most affected by the strikes for the workers, etc. Yes, OK.
Yeah,
right,
so they're the one that are paying the price most. And then started talking about hydrogen. We've got the world's first hydrogen aircraft. There's going to be another one soon.
That's another result for Britain, isn't it?
Get on to energy security, but clearly we've learnt the lesson, haven't we, that thinking we can ship energy in from wherever in the world, in the climate that we are now, with Russia and China not being our friends anymore, basically, is unwise. But, of course, that brings lots of conflicts, doesn't it? Like the Cumbrian coal mine that's been given approval, and the government's argument is, well, it's going to be net zero. I mean, that's interesting for a coal mine, but that it's coking coal that's used in steel, and that if we don't take it out of the ground, we're only going to import it from somewhere else that's taking
this is the thing, isn't it?
Out of the ground.
And again, with that, I can't help but wonder whether or not public opinion is slightly turning. We'll have to wait and see, of course. But as the reality of things sets in, and there are factors out of our control, like Putin's invasion of Ukraine, which has exacerbated all of this stuff, I think people were probably more willing to accept net zero and the various different costs or inconveniences, in the short term at least, that go with it, when everything was rosy in the garden, and now it isn't. Everything's frozen in the garden, and people are thinking, well, actually, I don't really fancy this. Should we not maybe be using some of our own resources there? So Grant Shapps, just to fill us in, is currently sitting in this grilling, and presumably will be for quite a while, because, as far as I can see, his brief covers pretty much everything that people care about today, apart from immigration.
Yes, I mean, it's absolutely massive. So energy, infrastructure, business, so very, very broad. But yes, as you say, obviously, we do want to get to net zero. There's huge amounts of money to be made if we can lead the world in green technology. But at the moment, we've got to get through the winter, haven't we, without power blackouts. And they had a couple of coal-fired power stations on standby in the last couple of days when the temperatures really plummeted, but they didn't need to fire them up. But we have to get through the winter. We want to keep the lights on. We want to be able to put the heating on. And so in the short term, it looks like some of the net zero pledges may have to take a bit of a back seat.